And we are live on a cold Tuesday night, early December, getting ready for Christmas. Kurt Valenti, Jennifer Valenti, all in on high school sports.
Good evening.
How is everyone today? How are you?
I'm well. Yourself?
Good. It's like I asked you the first time on air how you are. I'm with you all day. But big show tonight. Excited to have a couple special guests on.
Yes.
You want to explain what's going on tonight?
Sure. Our agenda tonight is we will welcome Coach Rebecca Lilienthal. After 23 years as the head coach of Parsippany High School, she is officially retiring from the helm of the program. And we will also welcome Ramapo assistant football coach, defensive guru, Joe Brislin, to the show as well.
Absolutely.
But before we get going, I do just want to mention our Toys for Tots drive that we're doing. Sound good if we give that a quick little mention right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we are hosting a drive where we're collecting toys. We do have to collect them by this Friday, but we did reach out for Toys for Tots kind of last minute, but we've been impressed with the generosity of so many people so far, and we've collected quite a few toys that we will be delivering on Friday or Saturday of this week, probably Saturday morning. When speaking to them, they did indicate how, given the circumstances of the pandemic, that not only are people being hit hard and donations are maybe falling a little short, but also their events. They've been limited in the events that they can hold. So, we just made us want to do it even more. So, on the screen, you're seeing some of the people that have already donated.
Yes, and throughout the night, we'll announce them, and we have
absolutely.
a scrolling
We'll come
bar
back to
underneath.
That. It is
and
giving a shout out to the people again who have generously donated to the cause. So thank you. And
Yes,
it's not
big
too late
thank
if you would like to donate something. We'd be more than happy to be the ones to deliver it this weekend. So please
Okay.
reach out to us.
real quick before we get into with our guest, with Rebecca, some breaking news in the high school football world. New Milford head coach Billy Wild, very successful at New Milford, has retired. So the New Milford job is open. And you know what this show is missing?
What's that?
A little rumor mill. And you know what? Starting next week, we're gonna get I'll get into my sources next week. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to get a little rumor mill on here, but I mean, I could start a rumor right now. I know somebody who could possibly be in that job, but we're going to hold off till next week on that.
Sounds good.
But
Good idea.
that's what we need. That's what we need. So, but the rumor mills are flying already. I have a name, no names right now, but we'll get into that next week on our rumor mill.
And before we officially bring in our first guest, also we'd like to thank Becton for our first set.
Yeah, we're not just saying like, this is all about Becton, but you know what? Becton has been the first to. We're gonna have this every week until we get more stuff because
not until we'd love to
Of
create
course.
a collection of all different high school memorabilia.
But it's gonna be Becton until somebody else steps up.
That's true. That is
true. I mean,
yeah.
we could throw some West Essex, some Ramapo, some St. Mary's stuff, of course, but we want to get some stuff, get a little board going. But thank you guys. Coach Longo picked it up last week. Really appreciate it.
Such a nice gesture.
By the way, I know also today
big news for them.
Yeah, big news for Becton. They also received Team of the Year from the Varsity Aces, the North Jersey portion of that. Yeah. So congratulations to Becton again.
The accolades keep coming in
They just
for them,
keep coming.
which is well deserved. Yep, very nice. Should I bring in our first guest?
Absolutely.
All right, I would like to bring in Coach Rebecca Lilienthal. So let's get her in here officially to start the evening.
Mr. Kirkpatrick saying hello, Mr. and Mrs. Valenti. Don't forget Rutherford and Del Barton stuff. Hey, he's their biggest supporter. He should be getting the stuff. He should be our spokesman for those schools.
I'm not sure if Coach Lil has her video on, maybe. I'm not sure if her video.
And Coach Longo said, thanks, guys. No, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I see her.
Get the helmet here.
I don't see. Oh, I think there she is.
So Coach is coming on.
There she is. Hi, Coach. How you doing? Her audio's still connecting. There we go. Thank you so much for coming on this evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. And selfishly, this is my way of getting to see you. Not only are we, coaching against each other, but coached with each other and a longtime friend. So nice to have you. I'm gonna give a little rundown of some of your history. So I got quite a few things to go through here. So so bear with me, audience, because she's very accomplished in her life. So 23 years coaching at Parsippany High School as the varsity field hockey coach, amassing 178 wins. 2012, 2013 back-to-back undefeated conference champions. 2012 Morris County tournament finalists. 2013 sectional finalists. Her slew of coaching also includes varsity and JV basketball and JV softball at Parsippany High School. She coached with me at Montville Township High School as my freshman lacrosse coach. I can't tell you how lucky I was to have her as part of my staff. She's done Riverdale Middle School basketball for the past 3 years. I think that her daughter might have something to do with that. And she has started and currently runs the Pompton Lakes Riverdale K-8 youth field hockey program. She's a club field hockey coach. And in high school, she earned 12 varsity letters at Pompton Lakes High School in field hockey, basketball, and softball, and she was a 2-time national champion and Scholar Athlete of the Year her senior year at the College of New Jersey. So, Coach Lil, you deserve to be recognized for all that you have done. I'm getting a little teary just thinking about the how much you have done for the sport and for how many people you've coached. So, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes.
Thanks, Jen.
Welcome, welcome, Rebecca. And real quick, Tracy Ann is saying, hello, guys. I'll have to try to get you some Pompton Lake stuff.
Love it.
Absolutely.
We're going to add to the collection.
Hey, we're going to get some Parsippany stuff from Coach. Coach Brislin's going to do some more stuff. So we'll be ready to go. But, Coach, I'll start. 23 years of coaching, over 170 wins. But what are you most proud of over your period of time of coaching?
Well, definitely the kids. It's one of the most exciting things for me is to see where my kids go after they leave me, into the world. And I have so many of them that are doing some great things. They're hugely accomplished. They're strong, independent, hardworking, productive members of society, and they're great family with their families, and some of them are coaching, but I mean even if they're often doing other things besides field hockey, it's just so great to see that playing field hockey's help them to develop into great women, and that's really what the point of it is, right?
Yep,
absolutely. You kind of touched on it just now. If you think about in 23 years in the multiple sports that you've coached, we could say that hundreds of female student athletes have come through your program. So, like you said, what though have you hoped that they have taken away from your program?
Well, I mean, it's only a little bit about field hockey. It's so much more about, how do you treat people and how do you treat yourself? And I mean, today's day, with my girls, the last few years, I think a lot of it is handling, life and social media's craziness that's out there for them now, and just learning how to be responsible and be adults, adulting. And I think that they don't all get that, being, hardworking and dedicated to something, and that if you have a passion for something, you should pursue it, and you can't let negative comments or attitudes get in the way of what you really love to do. And whatever that is, you should go at it 110% all the time. And I mean, we're of the same mind, Jen. It's not like that. So I think that's the big thing,
I do. You have a comment there, Mr. Volpe?
Yes, I do. You can read it.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, you read it.
So this is coming from Katie Lips, and she is saying, Hoff's the best coach, Lips family, from the Lips family. So.
Oh, I love Katie.
Oh, the Hofflinger is Rebecca's maiden name, so Coach Hoff. I still call you Coach Hoff as well. I had to practice by calling you Coach Lil before you came on, so.
Nobody calls me that, so it's okay.
Too funny.
So now here's like the $1 million question, Coach. What does retirement look like, and what do you do now?
Well, I just have to put my girls first. My two girls have pretty much. Krista started coming to practice with me when she was about 8 weeks old. So they have just kind of been dragged along wherever I was going all the time. And, I don't know if they took a back seat, but more of like a side seat. I mean, they were always with me, but it's their turn. It's their turn. And Chris is going to be in high school, and I need to be there for them. I can't imagine my daughter playing high school and me missing 1 second of it. And life is too short. So I need to do that. I mean, I'm still coaching. I'm coaching at the club level, and I'm with my daughter, and I'm coaching, the rec kids, and, I mean, probably a little bit from the sidelines at Pompton Lakes.
No.
On the other side, I mean, maybe. I already told Eileen at Pompton Lakes that I would help her whenever she wants. And of course I have my younger ones. So this is, starting the next 8 years, and I'm sure I'll be coaching basketball at the middle school level for a while, because my little one plays too. So, that's really where I'm at right now.
Awesome. We got a comment from our guy, Kenny Kirkpatrick in Maryland, said, best of luck in retirement, Coach Lil. Great accomplishments, and thank you for all you do and did in the last 23 years.
Very nice. Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Well, I'm going to give a little, just because you mentioned some of these things, I'm going to give a little inside info. Coach Lil, as, member of the Montville lacrosse staff. Coach, you were pregnant both times with the girls during the spring, right? And I'm not lying when I'm saying she had her baby and was out. I'm saying in days back out coaching. And
I remember when I had Bree, I was due the second week of preseason, and I told you in the fall I might have to miss a week. And you're like, oh, no problem. Why? I'm like, I'm gonna have a baby. She was like, oh. And I think it was really nice. We were at Dawson, and she was a week old. I came to practice with her, and she was a week old.
Oh my God. I'm pretty sure, and God, I hope I said this to you. You can take more time. God, I hope I said that to you, Rebecca.
I was bored. I was bored.
Too funny. And the daughter she will be coaching, already phenomenal field hockey players, and they've converted their garage into a mini little
Love it.
field hockey field. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And you've definitely passed your love of the game on to them. So, you mentioned your high school coach, that you're Eileen at Pompton, where you played and where your daughters will play. So who are some of the people who have been influential to you in your coaching career?
Well, Eileen, definitely. I mean, I am who I am because of that woman. I played for her in high school. I played field hockey and softball for 4 years, and she worked all of the basketball games. So she was pretty much always there. And she was a huge, huge influence in my life. And, and then, of course, I think when I went to college, my college coach, Sharon Fluer, I think I really learned the game, not just playing, but the teaching aspect of it. She broke things down into, all of the simple things. She was huge with doing the simple things well. And, and stick work and passing and receiving, and just nothing fancy. It was just always, you do it right, and so I think I got a lot of that from her too, and then over the years, I think we've been so fortunate, to have some really, really great coaches that I've coached with and coached against that have, helped me grow as a person. And my coaching staff, when I first coached for the first 10 years, I coached with Donna Shakatano. You know her.
I do, and my former teammates.
I played with her at Trenton, and she was, phenomenal. And then since then, I coached with Colleen Smith, who played at Trenton. She's actually, coincidentally, is Eileen's niece, and Michelle Nicoletta, and they have just been, so great. When you have a great coaching staff, it just makes life easy. And it makes it easy to kind of grow yourself, because you're not afraid to take risks, because you have someone there who can bounce things off of. And it was never really just me. It was always, okay, so what do we need to do here? What do you think of this? So I think that's, a really great thing.
A couple more comments coming in from Courtney Bertos Barnett saying, love you, Rebecca. So grateful to call you a friend.
She's one of those coaches I was talking about.
Tracy Ann saying Coach Eileen Allen is the best, lover. And we get another one from Katie Lips saying, ask her what a half minute is.
Katie loves the Hoff minute. When you time drills and I accidentally forget to look at my watch for like 3 minutes. And it was just helping with the cardio and conditioning,
I was going to say, I have a feeling it was a conditioning drill of sorts. Yeah.
Stick work,
Hey, that's
Something
not, you know what we have? That's like when I say 2 minutes and it's an hour. Yeah, I understand. I definitely relate to that. I like that.
Sounds like a Kurt minute.
I like that. I like that.
Listen, Coach Mulvaney's got those minutes too. Don't you
worry. Of course.
I always dealt with all the stuff she never wanted to deal with as the freshman coach,
She always does that, Coach.
I have to say, again, coaching with you and having a varsity coach on staff, I was very spoiled having you. Yeah, very spoiled, from a organizational to crying players on the first day of preseason.
Yep, that was always me.
Yeah, you were so good.
You're like, Rebecca, I got it.
I got a question for you, and a two-part question. One is, what's your advice for the next Parsippany coach, and what would your advice be for any? I don't want to say, I worded it as young coach, but someone who's just starting to get in this coaching profession.
Well, I think in Parsippany in particular, you need to know your audience. I have great kids, really great kids, not always kids with a lot of outside field hockey experience, kids who, don't necessarily, have the opportunities to do a lot of things outside of what you can provide at school. And so I think it's really important to have, an open mind. I never say no to anyone. If you wanted to come out and you were willing to come to practice every day and work, you could be here. I'd love to have you. And I've gotten some really great players who never played before high school. And, we saw them in phys ed and we're like, what are you doing? Come on, come to practice today. But I think we've had some really, really great kids. And I think that they deserve, I'm hoping that whoever takes over for me, I would love for it to be one of my own. We've instilled a lot of traditions and a lot of values in family in Parsippany, and I really just hope that whoever takes it over can continue some of those things, because I think that really is something that my girls benefit from, and I have the best kids. I really do have the best kids. Young coaches, things are different. Things are definitely different than when we started 23 years ago. I think you need to know your players, and you need to know your kids. I always encourage my kids to speak to me directly. I don't want to talk to mom or dad. They don't play for me, you do, and they need to learn to advocate for themselves. But I also think that sometimes you need to teach them how to advocate for themselves. And, some kids you can yell at, and that lights a fire. Some kids you need to be, gentler with, pull them aside. Hey, this is what you need, and I've had lots of different kinds of players, and they can all be successful if you find, that button that, drives them. And I think the most important thing is they need to know that you care. If they know that you care, then, you're going to get the most out of them.
Absolutely.
We have another comment here. I can't believe I forgot to tag Julia actually in the post this evening. I don't know how I could do so. I actually feel terrible about this. But she's saying, woohoo, Rebecca Hofflinger Lilienthal, you are the best. So really quickly, that is Rebecca's husband's, well, your niece, I shouldn't say, just your niece, who also is now, the Montville lacrosse coach. After I resigned from coaching, she took over, and it's all in the family on the staff now there, so which is awesome, and she's done a phenomenal job.
And Tracy Ann saying, wishing you the best in retirement.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Very nice. All right, so we're talking about the end of an era, right? You have the opportunity to address like the school, your fans, the community, your players. What would you like to say to them?
I think I posted something the night that we had our end of season meeting. I'm going to cry because it was really hard. It's the right decision for me. I know it's the right decision for me, but it's not an easy decision, and I will miss it. But I just, in my post, and what I would say tonight is that I am so grateful for all of my girls and, what they have given to me as a person. And I'm such a better person because I've had the opportunity to watch them learn and grow and develop. And I am so thankful that so many of them stay in contact, and I hear that, about all the wonderful things they do, and they stop by now and again, and some of them I still play with, and now we're like adults, and so we do adult things, which is great, and I just, I'm just grateful. I'm so grateful that, they took a chance on me. I mean, I was a first year teacher and a head coach, and I was 22 years old, and as a head coach, and they were like, yeah, go ahead, and I don't know that everyone would get that opportunity today. So, and I've always been backed. Parsippany has always backed me 110% in pretty much everything I've ever wanted to do. And I'm just so grateful.
Awesome.
Nice. And I'm sure your players share those sentiments about you, Coach. All right. Well, you've been on our show before, so we like to do a little rapid fire with you, right? So we had to check your old questions to make sure we didn't have any repeats in there. But
all right. Some new ones coming on.
We'll lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, we'll lighten it up.
We got sentimental. Now we're gonna get.
Yeah, let's just start with something easy. You have to make a list. You have to give it to somebody. What's the one thing you're putting on the list when somebody says, "Coach, what do you want for Christmas?"
Scotch.
Okay.
What'd you say?
Scotch.
Oh, Scotch. Nice.
That's it. Right at it. See that? Boom. Yeah, exactly. Question, nice. Answered it. That's perfect. It. Done.
All right. This one is for an athletic family. I want you to rank the competitiveness from least to greatest between you, Sven, Krista, and Bree. This is tough.
Wow.
Be honest, Coach. Be honest.
Well, hard, really hard.
These were the hard-hitting questions. What can I say?
It's a very hard-hitting question. I think that Krista's probably the most competitive.
Ooh.
My older daughter. I would probably put myself second. Bree is definitely, right there. She will take you down. She's 9, but she doesn't realize that. My husband is, he's super competitive, but he's also, fun. So I think he's probably, I'm not going to lie. I have never let my child win anything ever.
By the way, Emily is commenting and saying, I am the most competitive. So.
I should have put Emily in there. Mistake number 2 tonight on my part. How can I leave her out of it?
We are an incredibly competitive family. We always play to win.
Michelle Hahn Jones is saying, I was waiting for Emily to jump in.
Oh, that's our whole lacrosse coaching staff right there.
There you
go. What was I going to say? I was going to say something else. I can't remember. You're
rapid
up next
fire,
on rapid
second.
Fire.
Oh, no,
yeah.
yours. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, Coach. Biggest win ever.
Probably the game we beat Morristown to go to the Morris County final, 1-0. And Katie Lips will remember this because she was on the field and she was a huge part of that. And it was huge. It was huge. First time we ever went to the county final.
Okay, I want to give a shout out to our guy Carson from Ticket Time chiming in. So thank you for watching.
And following up biggest win, we usually follow that up with toughest loss.
That was her question, not mine, Coach.
County final.
Okay.
Yep. Madison. It was probably like 6 days apart. Yeah. Still hurts a little bit. Still hurts.
All right, next one. And you're going to be the first one to answer this. We're actually going to do a big debate, and I've been wanting to do this debate. I'm not joking, Coach, 2 months. But it finally came down to tonight. You're going to be the first question. You're going to be the first person to answer this question.
All right.
Should a head coach just getting hired be able to pick their own staff?
Like yeah, I think they should have input. I think they definitely need to have input.
Okay. And hey, if you want to watch later, I'm not gonna. You can see my smile, but I'm not gonna go which way I'm going. But I'm gonna answer this later.
Rebecca will appreciate this. A lot of the topics we discuss on the show, we've probably discussed amongst ourselves about 10 times.
That's
So
great.
we've had this debate many times.
That's great.
So we'll stay.
That sounds about right.
All right. What will you miss? What will you miss most about coaching high school field hockey?
I think going to practice every day. I think that's one of the things that's going to be very strange. You know, I in the entire my entire adult life, I have never not come back early for field hockey, and I have never gone home at 3:15. So that's weird.
Definite.
You may like that a little bit, though. You'll like it a little. You're gonna miss it, though. I mean, all of us miss it, you know.
Coach Lilienthal, thank you so much for coming on this evening. It was a pleasure to have you, and an even bigger pleasure to commemorate your 23 years. And again, know, as someone who's coached with you and against you, as a colleague and as a friend, you have touched many lives, and you've definitely left your legacy at Parsippany High School. So congratulations to you. You will
Coach.
be missed. Yes.
Thank you so
and come
much
back
for
on.
having
Hey,
me.
you're always invited. Always want to come on. You know, hey.
Great. Thanks so much. You guys are the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Rebecca.
you, Coach.
Say hi to the fam.
I will. Bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.
John Beelan's commenting, best duo in the game, but don't know how Hoops deals with Coach.
I love everybody feels my pain.
Well,
yes.
it feels your pain. Come on.
All right, we have Mr. Breslin ready to come in.
Mr. Breslin's always on time. Mr. Breslin's never late.
Should we
course,
move
let's
right
bring him
on?
in.
Move right along?
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, let me admit him in here. Hello, Coach Breslin.
Good evening. How are you guys doing tonight?
By the way, I got a text that just said for you.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to be in my maroon tonight. But he's not in his maroon. He's not in his maroon.
I'm never going to live it down.
How are you,
No way,
Coach
Jen.
Breslin?
How you guys doing tonight? Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for joining, of course.
No problem. Thanks so much for having me.
A pleasure to have you. Let me give our audience a brief little history of Coach Breslin and his 30-plus years of coaching high school football. His coaching experience dates back to 1987. He's been an assistant at Becton, Woodridge, and Secaucus High School. He's been a defensive coordinator at Becton, Hawthorne, and Ramapo. And most recently, he's been a volunteer assistant at Fairlawn High School and currently back at Ramapo from 2012 to the present. Volunteer coaching there. He has been a part of 7 state championship games, winning 5 state championships at Ramapo. So, Coach, welcome. You're, a slew of accolades. So, thanks for joining us.
John Beelan saying Coach Breslin, best in the game, living legend. He's also saying he's sending over some cash for Toys for Tots. So we're going to hold Mr.
Nice.
Beelan for
Very
that.
Nice.
Thank you, Beelan. So, Coach, I mean, listen, we could have a whole show just on Coach Breslin. I mean, listen, in my opinion, I've said this thousands of times. You know, I said it with Sis. I mean, one of the best, if not the best, defensive guys around. And I guess my first question for you, Coach.
Thank you. I apprate that.
No, listen, again, I saw it hand on. You know, people could say like they heard, but I didn't hear. I've witnessed it. So.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate that. And again, I think it also comes down to players too, and having good players and good coaches around. So. Kudos to all the guys that I know, obviously you and all the guys that we work with.
Absolutely.
It makes a big difference.
And again, just saying from like my personal experience, just, obviously I always said working with you and Coach Gibbs just made me like, when I was with you, it's like, okay, I know football. Then you're like, wow, like I didn't know a tenth of it. And just working with you just made me grow and become the coach I was. So I want to personally thank you for that.
You are more than welcome. And you know what? And always learning, and that's the thing I think that's most important because as we all know, the game changes so quickly. So, trying to just stay on top of everything and continually learning and going to clinics, those things are so important.
So my first question for you is what drew you when you started your coaching career, what drew you to the defensive side of the ball?
Well, first, let me start out by, first, let's start by congratulating Coach Lilienthal, on a great career,
Oh, that's
and listening to her speak. Some of the things that are so important to her, sometimes are also important to me too. And when I was growing up, I had two guys, Mr. Siffendorfer and Mr. Belletta, who pulled me into coaching when I was 13 years old. And those guys really set the tone for me to learn a lot about, getting into the game of football. And for me and my mentality, it was, I wanted to always go and hit somebody. So it was very helpful to me, to be on the defensive side, because that was something where, you can't win a game if you can't score. So the more that we could put time into playing defense and teaching how to tackle, and teaching technique, and then doing the preparation for that and understanding how offenses really work, that really drew a lot of interest for me. And, I really took to that side of the ball.
Kenny saying, Coach Brislin, great to see you on the show. Thomas McGuire saying, Coach Baggs, still to this day, the best coach I ever had.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Thomas, for selling me out, too. I appreciate that. And you know what? I had it was funny because his brother Tim worked for me a little bit, and I texted him last week. And I said, yeah, I've known those guys since they were really, really small. I've known their family for a long time. I coached all, him and his two brothers, throughout my career at Beckton. Great family.
And a couple of the comments, Coach Longo saying, what's up, Coach? And Thomas McGuire saying, but he was also lucky. He had Jay Longo and myself locking down the corners in 98. Ha, ha, ha.
That's right. Exactly. Those two guys around, they were, number one, two great guys. I still to this day, see those guys every once in a while, great families. And again, just to be part of them and work with them and now see them grow into being coaches today is so beneficial. And then also, on the Beckton staff as well now is a guy named Fran Rella. I coached him and his brothers when I was at Woodridge for that 1 year. So again, that's the thing, like Coach Lilienthal said, having the ability to coach these guys and now see them as adults, and now they're getting back into games to give back, again, so rewarding. And the relationships that you build with guys, from my Beckton days to my Woodridge days and Sea Caucus and Ramapo, that's what it's all about. Wins are great, championships are great, but the relationships that you have with all of these people over the course of time, and now you see these guys giving back, that's the best thing that you can, that's the best thing going.
Another comment from Carl Ross. Coach Joe, Tom said the same about me. Congrats on all your success.
Hey, Carl, how you doing, buddy? Absolutely. Another guy that I coached with at Beckton. Again, you know what? Just the ability to grow and work with some of these guys and be part of that when I was at Beckton, allowed me the opportunity to get where I am today, for the last, how many years being at Ramapo. A lot of that, Coach Milazzo being part of his staff, giving me the time to prepare and make myself better, to put me in this, opportunity. I can't thank those guys enough.
It's actually a perfect segue into my question, because you have quite an extensive coaching resume, and I wanted you to tell us a little bit about some of the coaches that you have worked with, if you'd like to continue with some of the people you worked with, learned from.
Sure, absolutely. Like I said, from the beginning with the two guys from the rec league, like I talked about, obviously getting on staff with Coach Milazzo, who was a legend at that particular time in Southern Bergen County, being at Beckton for a long period of time. Then having the ability to work with a guy named Jerry Caputo and Ed Agresta, those guys at Woodridge, Coach Voorhees at Sea Caucus, and Bill Fitzgerald. Actually, Bill Fitzgerald's son is now the head coach at Seton Hall Prep. Mm-hmm. Charlie Voorhees has been over at Sea Caucus for a long time now. Then working a little bit with Stan Miles. So again, just having the ability to work in different systems and different programs, and then, getting the opportunity to coach with Coach Gibbs in 2001. And for me, again, coming from, Southern Bergen County, small group 1 school, and now I am the defensive coordinator at Ramapo High School. So I'm saying to myself, okay, here's the deal. All right, this is like coaching the Giants. If we don't win, I'm getting fired. So I got to make sure that I'm ready to go and prepared. And one of the things that we talked about, and Coach Gibbs, I can remember this to this day. You know what? I want to be the best prepared team in the state. And I was like, okay, well, that's all well and good. Let's start. Let's get to work.
All right, Coach. I want to get into a little football. And again, like I said to you, we're not going to give any secrets on here or any game plans. But the latest thing, obviously, the spread offense, the RPOs. It went from high school, then it went to the college. But even now, like on this NFL, you got the mobile quarterbacks. Everyone's spreading out the field. How does that? Does it all with all this stuff? Does it make the way you coach defense, even like in in an individual period? Or, whether now you need the faster kid as a linebacker as opposed to the old style, get up in the A gap and stuff like that. Is it a little different now on the defensive side of the football since it's so much spread, so much RPO, speed sweeps, and all this stuff?
Well, again, what we always talked about even back then, right, was speed kills, right? So if you guys have guys who can run, that offsets a lot of things. Back in 2001, what did we see? We saw a lot of I formation stuff, and everybody was in a huddle, right? So it was a lot easier to prepare for I formation, guys coming out in a huddle, coming out of a huddle. It made life a lot easier. Nowadays, with the RPOs and having the ability for the quarterback to be able to run the ball, that's an extra guy that the defense has to make sure that they account for. Even back then with the I formation, one of the things we always talked about, and one of the things I learned from guys like Mark D'Onofrio and Al Golden at the college level was run fits, right? So making sure that you get into your proper run fits. Now, especially with the RPOs and they spread you out and they're running, zone read stuff, they're looking at outside linebackers. Is that linebacker actually coming inside to help on the run? If he does, then they're going to pull the ball and they're going to throw the ball over the top. If he's sitting out there, they're going to hand the ball off. And can that guy get back inside into that run gap in order to stop the run? And now coming out like we, for offense with Ramapo, we're trying to get a playoff in 17 to 18 seconds. So having the ability to try to get defenses and the call and getting lined up and everything like that, it definitely makes it a lot more difficult to coach defense when all these things are happening, without a doubt.
Two more comments. Coach Longo saying you're definitely one of the best, Coach. Thank you for your kind words. And Coach Lilienthal saying, thanks, Coach Brislin. Defense wins championships. Real quick on the second part of my question. Do you think, though, this whole spread and RPO, not that it's a fad, but do you think like that's where the game's going to stay for a while, in your opinion? Or do you think, like the Wildcat and, more of, stuff where it's like the run and shoot and stuff like that? Do you think a couple years down the road it's going to get back to the, two backs, one, power game? Or you think this is going to stay for a while?
I think this is going to stay for a while, but just got to remember one thing, okay? No matter what, whether it's run and shoot, whether it's the spread RPO stuff, if you can't run the ball, okay,
right,
from a defensive perspective, if we can make you one-dimensional, okay, it doesn't really matter what offense you're running. If we can make you one-dimensional, it's going to make it that more difficult. So teams are spreading you out to try to run the ball, okay, and then they could run their RPO stuff off of that, right? So they're trying to be able to, zone read. Let's get those linebackers up. Let's try to get the safeties up and then play action behind them. So I think it's here to stay for a while. The difficulty, again, at the college level, it works very well. At the pro level, they're a lot stronger and a lot faster.
Yes.
So, for the quarterbacks in those zone reads, as soon as they get space, they need to get down quickly because those guys are pretty fast and they don't want their quarterbacks being hurt. But making it hard on defenses when that quarterback is the extra guy.
Coach, we mentioned earlier that you have won 5 state championships with Ramapo. I was wondering if you could touch a little bit on what you think makes that program so successful year after year.
Well, number one, Coach Gibbs. I think he's the best coach in the state. I think he does a tremendous job.
I'll second that.
He is so well prepared. The culture there, the commitment from the players, the families, and what they put into it on a daily basis, really makes that program go. But that all comes from the top, and when Coach Gibbs started that whole program, again, you're coming from Coach Mielo, right? So that culture was already there. Coach Gibbs continued that tradition, works extremely hard, puts in so much time, and the commitment from the players and the families is just tremendous. And there's a lot of talent too. So that's always helpful and beneficial. But I would say, with the commitment and all the time and preparation that Coach Gibbs and his staff, currently today, we have guys that, Coach Gattuso, Coach Esposito, Coach Anzano, those guys have been around with him for a long time, who we coach. Coach Acapinti's there as well. But, Ramapo guys who are there now, part of that culture that we, that Kurt knows that we coached with, all help in that process. It's just a tradition that I love to be part of.
Coach, we always talk around especially when we're on our K&K show, and you're always in part of it, whether you come on or you'll comment in, and we always talk about how, coach's system or do what's right by what kind of kids you have for that year. So why is it so important to, not say this is my system and we have to do it this way, as opposed to saying, you know what, hey, we're a speed team, we're going to open it up. We're a power team, we're going to run it on the offensive side, or same thing on the defensive side. We can cover man-to-man, so we're going to play cover zero. We can't cover, so we're going to have to play zone. Why is it so important for a system?
Well, I think number one, I think you hit the nail on the head. You have to have a system. And I think that's so important. Many times some of the younger guys that I saw, years ago, it was, all right, well, I'm going to pull this off TV, or I'm going to add this. You want to have a system so you can have that. What are you teaching, and where are you getting that, most important information from, so you can teach that. But then you also have to look at, the abilities of your players. In 2001, we had guys who can flat out run, so we can play a lot of cover zero. If you don't have guys who can, play man-to-man coverage, you're going to have to make some adjustments to that. So no matter what within your system, you also have to have the ability to make adjustments accordingly. At Ramapo for years, we were a 4-3 team. All right. Well, and, now we've moved a little bit more to a 3-4 in, the past, probably like 8 to 10 years. Well, if you don't have a lot of big linemen, okay, you can't put 4 down. So you may have to use only 3. So you have to make adjustments, based on some of your talent, but it still comes down to a system. You still want to have a system. Especially this year. We talked about that a lot this year in regards to, we're playing all these different teams. Well, just like what happened with Coastal Carolina and BYU, we had that situation where in the middle of the week, we're no longer playing Wayne Hills and we're playing somebody else. So we have the philosophy of do what we do. So there's no difference in what we're doing, and we could prepare for anybody who we're going to play based on the fact that we're really not changing much.
But Coach, and I'm sorry, I know you have one more question, but it's just fascinating because we see, like we're talking, and I totally agree, and we always talk about the same thing, but when you see like sometimes on a head coach and like on the NFL level, and you'll see like they drafted, we talk about it again every Wednesday, you still see it. It's like, the guy was never under center. You're going to make him under center. You're going to, like, these NFL guys, they still kind of do it though. It's like it's amazing. Like with these quarterbacks, like why?
Well, I think number one, it becomes outside pressures of who they potentially do. They have control over who they can draft or who they can't draft. So that could play a role in it. And then they're trying to fit a round hole into a square peg based on what that system is. That's why it's so important for the coach to have some type of, ability to be able to help in that draft and
personnel
pick the guys
set.
that he really wants to fit his system.
Right.
Coach, before we get into our rapid fire, I have one more question for you. You are obviously coaching at the high school football level. You're also a director of technology, very busy, but you also are part of an apparel company that we wanted to give a little shout out to. So Kurt's actually sharing the contact information on the screen. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that company and what you guys do?
Sure, absolutely. Going back to my Beckton days, one of my buddies, his name is Mike Ryan, is the owner of DMK Apparel. So I work for him, part-time on the side. We sell, hoodies, sweatpants, uniforms, all types of different apparel, signs, and, we do embroidery and everything. So it's something that I enjoy doing. It gives me the ability to, continue to be out there meeting people, working with people, and providing them with different types of apparel. Kurt keeps telling me he wants hoodies.
I'm going to throw the blame on Kenny on that one, John.
But I haven't heard back yet.
If you were listening earlier, that's his typical 2 minutes. Yeah,
Coach. I didn't think you were going to. Listen, I got to deal with Brislin with comments. I got to deal with her 24 hours a day. And by the way, again, everything is up. The information's up. We will run that throughout the show and then on K&K and stuff like that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Actually, see, the Beckton stuff that is out is my buddy Mike Ryan, who is the owner of the company, is through DMK Apparel. So those sweatshirts that are out there they're selling are through DMK.
Nice.
By the way, Beckton is the first team to give us a little something for our set. So
I like it. It looks great.
Can't wait to have some stuff.
Remember wearing one of those helmets a long time ago.
There you go. There you go. All right, so let's get into a little rapid fire with Coach.
You're up first.
You know how this works, Coach. You've been there.
Oh, yes, I do. I was a little nervous about it. But
No. Well, the second question, I'm going to put you on the spot, but this one's going to be easy. Who was the single toughest player, not team player, you had a game plan for?
The single toughest player that we had a game plan for?
Yeah. Or game plan around, just a nightmare. One player.
Only one?
Oh, you can give me a couple. You can go a couple. You've seen a bunch, so go ahead.
I'm going to say the Fuller boys were very, very difficult at quarterback for Old Japan. And probably a Hall of Fame tight end, Greg Olson.
Good answers.
Just having the ability to try to find ways to cover him were very, very difficult because he posed a lot of challenges.
Okay.
And Coach, what is your most memorable football coaching moment?
I think our first state championship in 2001 with Ramapo. That was, for me personally, that was, the first state championship win for me. Beating Wayne Hills 14-10 at Ramapo and seeing Olson throw the ball out of bounds on fourth down was just incredible. So, and then having my family jump on the field and everything, without a doubt, most memorable.
Nice.
All right, this is the tough question. This is the $1 million question, okay?
All right.
I ever become a head coach, would you be my DC? I'd have to buy you out from Ramapo, spend the money out, and say, would you consider being the DC? I'll just go there tonight.
There's only one person you would have to convince.
Oh, I know where you're going on that one. I know where you're going. She's probably in that house somewhere, right?
Yes, she is.
Okay. There you go.
That's funny because that'd be the same conversation about him being a head coach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Exactly right, Jen.
We both been down that road for a long time.
Absolutely.
He didn't say no.
So, Coach.
Listen, I'll tell you. I'm sorry to interrupt, Jen.
Go ahead.
You know what? I think we can do a better job than what happened last week with the Jets. That's for sure.
Kenny was saying in a comment before, he said that he heard you're up for that job. But
oh my
that
goodness!
was crazy.
Let me tell you, I have a buddy of mine who his son works for the Giants, and I was texting him. I said, "You know anybody in the Jets? Because there's no way." You know what? That was just absolutely terrible. They should be fired on the spot.
They pretty much were.
Yeah, pretty much were. A couple hours later.
So, Coach, one of my first impressions of you was as a guest on the K&K show, and you came in. I didn't know at the time that you were a director of technology. You had an awesome green screen background when you came in as a guest. I think it was during the NFL draft.
Redskins,
maybe
yeah, the
with
Redskins
right?
background.
Yeah.
So then last week, I'm going to say you probably from the coaching avenues know maybe Coach Jerry Gallagher, and he came in and he had the Del Barton helmet in the background that we were
He
like,
shocked
so
the
good.
world.
He did.
Shocked us.
And so my question, he like upped the background game. So my question for you is, if you come back on and you have the ability to use the green screen again, what would you do to surpass Coach Gallagher with your green screen background?
Oh, I'm putting my state the state championship ring that
There
I
you
just
go.
sent a picture of to Kurt.
Yes.
That will be my background.
There you
There
go.
we go. Good.
There
Good
you
one.
go.
That's a good one.
Without a doubt.
All right, here's
Next
another
time
one.
I'm putting it on.
Here's another one.
All right, go ahead.
All right, and we're in the same boat. I know how I would answer this, and I think I know how you're going to answer it. Where would you be more nervous? Okay, option A, you're in another state championship game. You're up 4 points, 4th and goal. They have the ball inside the 2-yard line, or you're in school, state testing, your network goes down. Where are you more nervous?
State championship.
Damn right. Damn right. Cares who's
Network
listening,
goes down. I
state
call the
champ-
network administrator. Network administrator.
Too funny. Coach, in our last rapid fire question, you had a little preview when Coach Lilienthal was on. Kurt asked her, we previewed our debate question for the night. So it's a new coach, new to the school. It's their first time they're joining this school. They're coming on board. They're not necessarily coaching for the first time. But should they be able to choose their own coaching staff? What's your opinion on that?
Oh, I think so. I think they should definitely have a say in that. Just the ability to have someone that you trust work alongside of you, I think is really, really important. Unfortunately, you get certain situations where, you could potentially be hired as a young coach and they want you to keep somebody on from the old staff, and that becomes very, very difficult. And,
Right.
It does. And then it becomes a trust issue. Whether or not it's going to be an issue or not, you never know. But it could potentially always be in the back of your mind. So I think the ability to hire your own staff and have the people that you trust on staff is so important.
Yeah, and coach, even football, it's like, say on the defensive side of the ball, somebody hires you, and I understand, like you're saying. I mean, a lot of coaches aren't like you, though, and they're just like, it's my system, I run this, I run that. And the head coach might be like, I'm more conservative, the defensive coordinator is going to be blitz happy, and it doesn't work when they're like, here's your defensive coordinator, it's not going to work. So we're going to have a little debate in a little bit.
And what's important, too, is that you have to trust the system that you're going to run. And I think that's important, and that's where, Coach Gibbs and I really worked well together to build that system. And put it together for an extended period of time, and it worked out well. And again, remember, we had talented guys, especially on the defensive side, where we were able to play some of the things we were able to do based on the fact that we had a lot of talent.
And I got to get one more. When Kenny gives us, Kenny always gives us like a rank 'em question, but he wants to give you the rank 'em question tonight.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to say a specific order, but he wants the top 5 or who are top 5 head coaches in North Jersey, in your opinion, football.
Wow, top 5 head coaches. Well, I'm biased, so I'm going to go Coach Gibbs as one. I have to think now. You know what? Man, I'm trying to think. You know what?
Don't blame me, Coach. I didn't have it on. This is Kenny.
It's Kenny, right?
It's Kenny. Kenny always wants to start, like he'll come up
Well,
with
he's going to stump me too, because I'm trying to think of the whole process of different people that are out there, and you don't want to miss anybody,
right.
and you know what I mean.
Oh, great! He just commented. He said no order. Oh, he's letting you off the hook.
Oh, no order.
No order. Don't worry about an order. He just wants 5 names.
Wow.
You know what? I'm gonna change the question. Who are 5? Let's go, because it's a little tougher now. 5. Who are 5 of the best head coaches you've ever either you were with or you coached against?
Well, I will say this: Nick Del Caso from Hasbrook Heights. I thought he was, a great coach. I thought he did a tremendous job. He was around for a while. He just retired. I'm trying to think back, and obviously, Chris Olson did a tremendous job over in Wayne Hills. He put a lot of time in and did a tremendous job. So that that made life always difficult. I will say that the guy from Old Tapan, he does a very good job. He has a great program, and he's been around for a while. Let's see, I'm just trying to think of other guys that we coached against. Think back to my Becton days too. Well, I'm going to put this name out there, and Matty Acapinti would know, but he was a fun guy to coach against. And if you ever Google this guy, he used to have his own radio show and everything. It was a guy named John Galante from North Arlington. But you Google him, he was a lot of fun to coach against. He's been at Bayonne. He's been around for a while. But he was someone who was a character who was great to be around and a lot of fun to coach with.
Okay.
I'll put his name out there as a guy that was, fun to coach against.
All right. And Kenny's saying, sorry, Coach, I didn't ask a Nike or Chick-fil-A question. Ha, ha, ha.
No, Under Armour and Wendy's.
Listen, he came prepared.
Absolutely.
No one's more prepared than Coach Breslin.
That was good.
I was waiting for that one, so I knew I was ready for it.
Well, we got to give you a little more tougher ones than that.
All right.
By the way, congratulations on the fantastic win last night with your Redskins.
Oh, absolutely. That was great. For all those Steeler fans out there, that was just tremendous. Petro and I were, sending messages back and forth on Facebook. That was just awesome. And what's crazy is my superintendent is a Steeler fan, so I had a good day this morning.
Oh, hell yeah. Hey, running the ball in defense. Defense wins championships.
That's it, baby. You got that right.
That's
Absolutely.
it. Done.
Coach Breslin, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you, your viewership. First of all, you always have
awesome.
watching and supporting us, and of course chiming in your comments.
We did miss your comments tonight. I'm not gonna lie, but
well, that's it. Exactly right. Thank you guys, so much for having me. Congratulations to the Becton Wildcats again on a great season. Those guys are great guys, and very excited for them. I actually, because of the COVID issues that we had, I was able to go see that game. And just to one other thing was crazy was some of the guys that I coached, now their kids are playing on that team, so that's how old I am. But thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed it. I like being part of your show, and congratulations again to Coach Lilienthal. It was awesome career for her, and thanks again, guys.
Thank you. The best in the biz right there, Coach Breslin. The best in the biz.
Thank you guys very much.
Coach.
Good night.
You too. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much. You too.
Okay.
Very
Coach
knowledgeable
Breslin.
Coach
Oh,
Breslin.
he's the best. I joke around. You guys think I joke around. He's just the stuff I just learned from Coach Gibbs and him at Ramapo was, forget about it. I could be here forever to say thank you to those guys, but he's the best. But let's do this. We got a couple minutes left. Let's get into our. Well, actually, you know what I want to do real quick? Let's go over this one more time, and let's just give a quick shout out. We do have to add Mr. Beelan because he said he's going to send money over.
So,
if you want to do a quick shout out and just give a couple names out.
Our Toys for Tots donors, Kenny Kirkpatrick, our friend from Maryland, obviously Mr. Beelan, as you said, and his family, the Beelan family. The Share family, Rob, Ashley, Xavier, and Joe. Joe and Therese Valenti, your parents. Paul and Ann Mulvaney, my parents. We have, it's all in the family too. Ryan Valenti, Jody Valenti, and Mike Procaccino. Paul and Cassandra Mulvaney. I don't want to miss anybody here. Oh, the Sickinger family, Mike Petroselli and Jen Daly. And a very generous donation from my my school. Our fair, we have a Jeans Fund, we call it. We put money in and we donate to good causes throughout the year, and they were very generous. I was able to go on a little shopping spree with their donation, so we got quite the loot. I want to
give a shout out to all the Sickingers.
Yep.
Jim, Kathy, Kathleen, Lindsay, and
Yes.
a special donation with Patty. So
Yes,
I want
yes.
to give a little shout out. And again, anyone else wants to donate, please. I mean,
Yep, it's not
it's
too
awesome.
late.
Stuff keeps coming in. You know, we're going to go up there Saturday morning, and again, like, listen, it's something we want to do all the time, but especially this year to make it a little different. Coach Lilienthal saying, thanks again. What a great interview. Sounds like my childhood growing up with my dad. All right, so we have a couple minutes left. I've been wanting to do this for weeks, okay? We asked Coach Lilienthal, we asked Coach Brislin. I'm right with them, you know. And I mean, I'm going to talk on the football side, but I believe it's all the sides. It's every sport, but I'm going to go a little more football when we get to, should a head coach pick their staff? And the answer is yes, 1,000%. You know, first off, your name is on that program. If I'm getting the head coaching job, it is on me. You know, it's not on you as the assistant. It's not on that person. It's not on that person. Win or lose, if you lose, you're the one that's going to hear about it. If there's problems in the program, it always goes back to the head coach. You know, I know a big thing here is, well, you know, so-and-so's been an assistant for 15 years in the school district and they're a great, that's fine, that's dandy. But just like Coach Brislin said, you have to trust, and it's your guy. If I became a head coach, no offense to someone who's been in school A for 10 years. No offense to that person, but I want my guy. I want my defensive coordinator. I want my offensive coordinator. I want my guy to run the special teams. Now, I'm not going to go and say, listen, you sit down, you interview. If you're on staff, I interview with you. But final call should be mine. You know, it's my name going on that program. And I'm sorry. I think it's, you know, listen, we argue this off air all the time. If they want you so bad as the assistant, then you should be the head coach. But somebody to get thrown on now. So again, and I'm going to say football one more time because I'm going to say a coordinator, special teams, offense, defense. Those people, I mean, honestly, those people are probably the ones calling the plays, not even the head coach. So that has to be my people. That has to be what I want. So 100%, no doubt about it, a head coach should have final say and full say of their staff.
Okay, my turn.
Your turn.
You're not going to interrupt, right?
I'm going to try not to.
Well, I didn't interrupt you once.
No,
so
I'm gonna try.
Reciprocate. Don't text on your
No,
phone.
I'm not. I'm just
okay.
looking at some messages, but go ahead.
Because I listened to you the entire time.
Of course I'm going to listen to you.
So I don't disagree. I think in a perfect world, a new coach would come in and be able to pick their staff. However, there's a couple of caveats. I understand your viewpoint. As we often say, you're very black and white with no gray area in between. But there's gray area in between here. I'll give you personal experience. I got my first head coaching job at the age of 23. I did not have a coaching staff to choose from. Actually, Coach Brislin hit the nail on the head when he said a new coach coming in. Also, I'm going to be honest, the things I learned about just in general, of how to maybe advocate for myself as a coach even, I did not possess those characteristics at the age of 23 as a new head coach. I just didn't have the experience. So I would not have even been able to probably, make my case for bringing in my own coaches. And I did inherit a coaching staff. Now, I also was lucky at the same time to inherit that coaching staff because unlike football, my first head coaching job was in the spring of 2000. I'm sorry, I was 25, not 23. Was in the spring of 2000 where for lacrosse, and it's very different than football. It's hard to find, especially at that time, it's hard to find anybody who had lacrosse playing experience, who could have the schedule to fit to coach a high school team, the commitment. So I actually felt very fortunate to walk into a situation where I was becoming a head coach and had a staff, and I did not have to worry about fielding a staff. As I stayed in Montville for 15 years, I was then able to bring in my own staff. And then Coach Hoff has hit that on the head, saying the let alone your mindset, the camaraderie of our staff, and we existed for many years together, was beneficial for my program. So I'm not disagreeing that a coach should be able to pick their own staff when they start. I'm just saying there are instances where that may not be possible. And where's the fairness to that coach who maybe has been there for a long time and has done a great job? And I like what Coach Brislin said. I think there needs to be a conversation about, I don't think that coach should just be swept aside because a new coach is coming in,
right.
Whether it's an application process, an interview process, something where you can sit down and maybe work out something where that coach, that there's no fairness in that either if it's unwarranted.
Of course. I mean, just to go and say, I'm not gonna hire you because you've been here, but it should be, if I became the head coach, I truly believe the AD should say, hey, these are my recommendations, but in the end, if you want your people, it's that head coach. It's your name now on that program. Coach Brislin said the hardest thing. It could be so much where, two people are on staff, those people are together, I'm coming in, and now I'm fighting or with this and trying to get across, and that's not something that a head coach should have to worry about. The head coach has to, I 1000%, I've been on staffs where it was 100%, I've been on the staffs where people were all over the place, and if you're not from Guy one from head coach all the way down on the same page, it's a problem. You're not going to be successful. It's going to be a major headache. And, I don't believe in somebody's in the school. He's been here 15 years. He's got to run your defense. That's not good. That's not good.
I don't disagree with you 100%. Again, I have some outliers to that thinking that I think, and we've discussed this before too, that in each individual sport, there are unique situations. And, I happen to be a head coach of 2 sports where it was very difficult to find assistants. So I, again, also inherited a field hockey staff that I was very fortunate, and I was lucky to inherit a staff that was knowledgeable and did a good job. When vacancies occurred, however, it was very difficult to fill those spots. Was it nice to be able then to have the say of who it should be?
Right,
yes.
right.
However, we entered seasons right before it started not knowing who would be in that position. So again, that's more unique to the sports that I have coached.
Of course.
So again, my experience has been a little bit different than your experience, hence our differences of opinions.
But it doesn't make sense when you really think, though, just say we're going to go into basketball. Okay, I'm becoming the head girls varsity coach, and they're going to say, now what's very important is that freshman program. But if they here's meet so and so, they're your freshman coach, no. You're also speaking as, I have somebody who I want to be my freshman coach.
But you're also speaking as an adult who has coaching experience. And again, I'm going to go back to my original point of being a younger coach and maybe not knowing who you now, of course, if you got a head coaching job, you know right away who you'd want your DC to be. If you're younger, if you're at your first head coaching position.
Let's go to that angle.
But let's say, exactly, you may not even have that, and you might feel fortunate to have somebody on staff.
Okay, what if you're a veteran? Right now, I
would say that if I were going somewhere that, again, now having the experience and knowing that if I were interviewing for a head job, and they ask you, do you have any questions for us? Well, one of my questions would be, what about my assistant staff? What are we going to do about my assistant coaching staff? That would be something that I would discuss with the athletic director.
What would they do if they say, okay, we have 3 assistants here in house, you're going to be the head coach and they're going to coach under you?
See, you're very black and white. I can't make a blanket statement. I would have to say, is it a program that I know? Do I know those coaches? Do I get to meet with those coaches? Is there something they're saying we could have them? Well, if that's the difference, if I don't agree with having them on my staff, then maybe I don't take that position. So again, but that I can't say that that's for sure. They could be, again, was very fortunate in my positions where I had knowledgeable people on my staff that had been there prior. And not only as a young coach who, it was helpful to have people who had already coached before, but also not having to fill those positions and having people in field hockey and lacrosse who've actually played the sport is such a bonus. It sounds silly for other people who've coached other sports, but there are a lot of people coaching those sports, and I think it's gotten better, but when I first started, who've never played that sport before.
But if you think about it, why Kenny's saying, does that go for scouts as well, Coach? Coach Gibbs gave you the okay to bring me on board to scout games. Yes, we did, Kenny. But, like, we got into coaching, but, I mean, it's just any other job, whether you're a manager, you own a business, you're not, I'm taking over the business. You're going to interview them. You're going to go and say, don't like, all right. He's okay, but I got my guy here. I'm bringing my guy. It's the same thing. It's so important to have your people. You're going to go down with your people. Because you know what? Any negativity, losses, stuff going on in the program, it's your face, your name in the paper. You're the one the parents are going to deal with. It's got to be you as comfortable as you can be with your people.
I agree to a degree, but there are definitely some instances where it's just not as simple and not as black and white.
Okay. That's gonna, what we should do. We'll bring some guests. It's a great coaching point because I think it's, and again, listen, we could sit here for an hour and argue about this, but every sport, whether it's not the pros and it's not college, no, but it's also not recreationally. We heard Coach before, she was talking about with parents and I don't want to talk to your parents, I want to talk to you. Like, that's real life. This isn't 6th and 7th grade. And I think sometimes it's like, well, we're giving it's not. In a lot of programs, like Coach Brislin said, what did he say? I don't win, I'm gonna get fired. I'm not getting fired with coaches you gave me. If I'm getting fired, I want my guys that I can call and I can say, hey, it's just, to me, it's common sense. It has to be your guys. You can't just get thrown a coach or this or that. It's your call.
We're just repeating ourselves. Again, I don't disagree, but I think that it is not a black and white issue. I think there are more things that need to be considered. It's not an all or nothing in any sport, at any school. There's just so many factors that need to be considered, which we have hashed out. Okay. So, good debate. Great
debate.
Yep.
Kenny's saying, I truly believe it depends on the situation the program is in. Okay, one more time before we go. Again, we decided we're going to do a all-in on high school sports toys for Tots donation. We want to thank everybody who has donated. Again, if anyone wants to donate on behalf of All In on High School Sports, please reach out to Jen, reach out to me, email us, text one of us, leave a comment. Again, it's going to be great. And the stuff we're getting in, we're getting another 5 bags dropped off now. And again, if anyone wants to do it, it's great, and it's something, we wanted to do. And, we're happy that we've done that.
Thank you, everybody, for watching this evening. As always, if you know an athlete that you would like to see featured on our show, please email us, contact us on any of our many social media platforms. And, it was one of our goals to get as many programs and athletes and coaches recognized in the North Jersey area as
Absolutely.
possible.
One more little promo I want to do is our guy Rob Neely and his smoky beard and his spices. And do you need a little spice in your life? But he's running a promo. If you use the promo All In, you will get 10%. You will get 10% off your order. I have not tried it, but don't go by me because I am the pickiest in the world. But Jen has tried it.
Yes, very good stuff. Very
good stuff. We got the rosemary salt
and the espresso rub. Yes, I'm a coffee fan, so that is what he had recommended for me.
Okay, so again, use the promo code All In. You get 10% off your offer, and one of our special guests, Mr. Neely. But other than that,
thank you everybody for joining us tonight. And we will see you
Coach
next
Breslin
week.
Saying thank you for having me. Great job.
Of course.
Thank you to Coach Breslin.
Yes, Coach Lilienthal, thank you for coming. The two great guests this evening.
Lots of great guests.
Lots of fun.
Lots of fun. And we will see you next week with the rumor mill. But great show. And again, if you guys like to donate, reach out. If not, we will see you guys next week.